On Osrc News at 7, stakeholders seek violent-free, transparent exercise as Ondo APC sets for state congress. Federal government commences direct oil remittances to FARC. INEC to hold mock election ahead 2027 poll. And from the foreign scene, decades of turmoil boil over as Iran-US relations hit new low. Good evening. Welcome to Osrc News at 7. I am Otuayo Sawyer. The All Progressives Congress in Ondo State is set to elect new officers to steer the affairs of the party at the state level. Organizers say all necessary measures have been put in place to ensure a free, fair, and credible exercise. Director of Media and Publicity of the party in Ondo State, Steve Otaloro, confirmed this while speaking with Osrc. Omoyo Langwiji reports. The National Police Council has unanimously endorsed Olatunji Disu as the substantive Inspector General of Police, paving the way for his formal confirmation. The decision was taken during a meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. The session, which lasted less than an hour, fulfilled statutory requirements under the Police Act 2020, mandating council review of any appointment to the nation's top police office. Presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga stated that the council's resolution was unanimous, and he said the outcome clears the administrative hurdle before the president transmits the nomination to the Senate for legislative confirmation. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu will on Wednesday swear in the new Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, during the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The federal government has commenced the implementation of Executive Order 9 of 2026, which mandates the direct remittance of oil revenues to the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FARC. The Minister of Finance and Coordinated Minister of the Economy, Wali Edo, said this followed President Bola Tinubu's directive and the inaugural meeting of the Implementation Committee for the Executive Order. Edo said the committee reaffirmed the President's directive that revenues accruing to the Federation from petroleum operations must be managed in line with constitutional provisions and in a way that safeguards funds meant for the three tiers of government. On Section 3, subsection 3 of the order, which provides for direct payments by contractors into the Federation account, the minister said the committee agreed that the transition must respect existing contractual and financing arrangements while maintaining investor confidence. He said that the committee approved the establishment of a technical subcommittee to develop detailed transition guidelines within 3 weeks and to review the Petroleum Industry Act to address structural and fiscal anomalies affecting Federation revenues. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) has announced the commencement of the 2026 direct entry registration. In a statement posted on its official X account, the board said the sale of application documents began today, March 2, 2026, and will end on Saturday, April 25, 2026. JAM said that the registration service can only be accessed at its offices nationwide. For the first time in years, the Christian season of Lent and the Muslim holy months of Ramadan are overlapping, a development that is reshaping buying patterns across markets in Akure, the Ondo State capital. A market survey conducted by our correspondent shows that the twin fasting seasons are influencing demand for fruits and other food items, though traders report mixed fortunes amid prevailing economic realities. Our reporter Sunday Adiyonju tells us more.
The simultaneous observance of Lent and Ramadan, two sacred periods marked by fasting, prayer and self-denial among Christians and Muslims, is creating noticeable shifts in commercial activities across major markets in Akure. Our survey of fruit stalls, open markets and roadside vendors reveals a pattern of cautious spending, selective buying and price sensitivity among consumers. At Ojaoba Market and other busy trading hubs, fruits such as oranges, bananas, pawpaw and watermelon are prominently displayed, traditionally popular choices for breaking fast. Some fruit sellers say the overlap of the two fasting seasons has boosted demand, particularly in the evening, when both Christians and Muslim faithful prepare to break their fast.
Today are good. They patronize us. No matter fasting, even though for this fasting we do now, people they patronize us well. See, no matter money no dey town. Sometimes no be every time you see more money. No be every time you see customer break. Sometimes customer fit come. But to thank God, our market is moving. For this fasting now, if you sell money, say evening time. Now that evening market, my customer used to come.
They explain that fruits are considered light, refreshing and nutritious, making them a preferred option during fasting periods. However, not all traders share this optimism. A number of sellers describe the market as unpredictable, citing low purchasing power among residents. According to them, while interest in fruit remains high, actual sales have been affected by rising prices linked to transportation costs and supply challenges.
As of now, we buy small because money no dey now. But the price of market is small now.
The survey also shows increased demand for complementary food items such as dates, vegetables, garri, rice and beverages, though buyers are often opting for smaller quantities. Some customers admit that instead of purchasing a variety of fruits, they now prioritize cheaper alternatives such as sachet drinks or plain water to manage their budget.
Like watermelon, we sell 300, 500. Pineapple, 200, 500.
Despite the mixed reactions, both traders and consumers acknowledge the nutritional importance of fruits and balanced meals during fasting. Health experts often recommend fruit for hydration, vitamins and energy, replenishment after long hours without food or water. As Lent and Ramadan continue side by side, the market survey indicates a delicate balance between spiritual commitment and economic realities, with traders adjusting prices, diversifying stock and adopting flexible sales strategies to stay afloat. For many in Akure, the overlap is not just a spiritual convergence, but also a test of resilience in the marketplace. Sunday Adiyonju, Osrc News.
Still ahead, Ondo APC sets to elect new officers to steer the affairs of the party. This and more after the break. Don't go away. Thank you for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our digital channel Moreplex 720 and on our website www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. The All Progressives Congress in Ondo State is set to elect new officers to steer the affairs of the party at the state level. Organizers say all necessary measures have been put in place to ensure a free, fair, and credible exercise. Director of Media and Publicity of the party in Ondo State, Steve Otaloro, confirmed this while speaking with OSRC. Omoyola Mbiji reports.
For the past 2 weeks in Ondo State, members of the All Progressives Congress have conducted congresses beginning from the ward level. The exercise was also successfully held across the 18 local government areas of the state. The grand finale, which is the state congress, is now scheduled for Tuesday, March 3, 2026, where party officers who will pilot the affairs of the party for the next 4 years are expected to emerge. According to a statement by the State Publicity Secretary, Alex Kalejayi, eligible participants including the Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, the Chairman and members of the State Executive Committee, serving and former members of the National Assembly from Ondo State, and members of the National Executive Committee. Others are serving and former members of the Ondo State House of Assembly, the 18 local government party chairmen, secretaries, women leaders, youth and special leaders, council chairmen and their deputies, as well as members of the Southwest Zonal Executive Committee. The State Party Director of Media and Publicity, Steve Otaloro, who said all logistics required for a successful exercise have been put in place, added that observers from the national will be on ground to monitor the process.
The constitution is so clear about the party. You know, we all come under the umbrella of the leadership of the party, which is the governor. The governor is the leader of every political structure in the state, just like President Tinubu is the national leader of APC. So whatever is not coming under this structure will not be accounted for. So we believe that we are going to have one house. But whoever is envisaging that they want to disrupt this process by bringing division, they won't have a way. That's the truth. Because everything we believe we are family, and we should operate under the umbrella of the leadership that we all envisage that is going to bring up the best of this leader. And we've been doing that. We had the World Congress, which was successful. We had that of the local government, which was very successful. Why would the state not be successful as well? So we believe at the end of the day, there won't be anything like faction, and if there is one, I can assure you it will not stand the test of time.
He called on party members to conduct themselves peacefully, noting that adequate security measures have been adopted to ensure a hitch-free and transparent exercise.
We don't envisage much problem because as a political party we are operating under the umbrella of the leadership of this party, which is the governor, and I want to equally believe that the people responsible for this congress, because they are coming from Abuja, is not something we are doing ourselves here. So they must have made every arrangement. We are only giving them support. So in terms of security will be tight. Whoever is not voting, whenever will not be involved, should not come near to the premises. That has been allayed to every members of this party that at the dome tomorrow we will only be expecting people who will be casting their votes, and those are the people that we have permission to go into the hall. So security-wise, everything will equally be as tight as possible.
The APC State Congress is expected to further strengthen party structure ahead of future political activities in the state. Omoyola Mbiji, OSRC News.
Meanwhile, leaders, members, and stakeholders of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State are currently gathered at the APC State Secretariat in Akure ahead of the party's State Congress scheduled for Tuesday, March 3, 2026. As of the time of this report, party members are seated at the venue awaiting deliberations from the state and national leadership on activities leading to the Congress. The State Congress is expected to attract party officials from across the state, including chairmen, women and youth leaders, as well as representatives from the Southwest Executive Committee, chairmen in local government and ward levels. Compassion and service took center stage as the founder of the Jalano Ayofemi Foundation, Ayofemi Jalano, marked his 40th birthday with an outreach to inmates of the Correctional Center in Olokuta, Ondo State. Instead of a ceremonial celebration, the celebrant undertook a humanitarian visit aimed at restoring hope and dignity to those behind bars. Adewumi Taiwo reports.
Members and stakeholders of the foundation converged on the Correctional Center in Olokuta, Akure, bearing its essential items for distribution to inmates. The foundation described the initiative as part of its commitment to supporting vulnerable groups and promoting social responsibility within the community. Speaking during the visit, a member of the foundation, Adeoye Oluwatosin, said the outreach was designed not only to provide material support, but also to reassure inmates that they remain valued members of the society.
We are always very concerned about those who are indigent, those people who lack, and those people, the orphans and those who don't really have much in the society. And this is what we've been doing in the last 4 years since the incorporation of the NGO across Nigeria. We have visited a lot of states, and we deem it fit today. Since the founder is from Ondo State, and they say charity begins at home, we are not here to judge them because we know circumstance could, bring anybody here.
He noted that marking 40 should transcend personal celebration, but serve as an opportunity to make a meaningful impact. Oluwatosin further called on individuals and organizations to extend support to correctional institutions, stressing the importance of collective efforts in fostering rehabilitation and reintegration.
Humanity is our core value, and that the motto of the foundation has always been giving help to those in need. There is nothing given to humanity that goes to waste, and that the best we can give is to be our brother's keeper and to love us others. And in the spirit of loving, you can have 10 and someone is not having one. Keep the whole thing to yourself. Jesus, even when the Bible encouraged that we should be our brother's keeper.
The outreach formed part of activities commemorating Ayofemi Ijalano's 4 decades of life, reinforcing the message that true celebration lies in service to humanity and uplifting those in need. Adewumi Taiwo, Osrc News.
In other news, the Nigerian Air Force, NAF, under the Joint Task Force of Operation Hadinkai, conducted an intelligence-driven air interdiction mission against terrorist elements in the Uwe General area of the Sambisa axis in Borno State. The early morning operation followed confirmatory intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance that identified structures used as terrorist commanders' hideouts and logistics warehouses. The NAF spokesman, Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, said post-strike assessment confirmed the neutralization of several high-value operatives, including senior commanders and fighters coordinating activities within the theater. He said the strikes disrupted the terrorists' command and control structure and degraded their logistics network significantly, limiting the operational capacity in the area. The air operation forms part of ongoing counter-insurgency efforts under Operation Hadinkai as the Nigerian Air Force sustains aerial offensives to degrade terrorist strongholds, disrupt logistics networks, and support ground troops in restoring security across the northeast. The federal government has advised Nigerian nationals residing in Kuwait and Bahrain to remain vigilant and adhere strictly to safety guidelines issued by host authorities. In a circular, the Embassy of Nigeria in Kuwait, which has concurrent accreditation to Bahrain, urged Nigerians in both countries to stay calm, monitor local news, and follow official government advisories in light of prevailing regional circumstances. The embassy stated that it is closely monitoring developments and maintaining contact with leaders of Nigerian communities in the two countries to ensure timely updates and support. It also announced the creation of a dedicated mobile and WhatsApp line to facilitate active communication with citizens. The advisory comes amid heightened tensions in parts of the Middle East, with Nigerian authorities emphasizing precaution and calm among citizens abroad. And on the foreign scene, the United States has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose. The United States took the decision to accept, the British government took the decision to accept this request to prevent Iran firing missiles across the region, UK Prime Minister said in a video message.
Has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose. We have taken the decision to accept this request to prevent Iran firing missiles across the region, killing innocent civilians, putting British lives at risk, and hitting countries that have not been involved. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defense of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.
Meanwhile, the U.S. and Iran have a history of support, interference, and hostility. This report by Aderonke Kolawole takes a look at how the two nations have supported and fought each other over the decades.
The Shah of Persia has been paying a state visit to President.
For more than 80 years, U.S. presidents have put an unusual focus on Iran.
Iran.
Beginning in World War II, Britain and the United States used Iran for foreign weapons to help Russia fight Nazi Germany. Successive presidents hosted, supporting and applauding the Shah Mohammed Pahlavi. In 1952, U.S. President Dwight Eisenhower authorized Operation Ajax, giving the CIA authority to launch a coup along with the British to restore the Shah to power. After the Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh sought to nationalize the country's oil industry, President Eisenhower then sought to bolster the Shah with the Air of Peace program in 1957, giving Iran highly enriched uranium and training its scientists in hopes that would encourage civilians' use and not lead to building a nuclear weapon.
Our defense, therefore, will be stronger if, under appropriate security safeguards, we share with our allies certain knowledge of the tactical use of our nuclear weapons.
President John F. Kennedy welcomed the Shahs to Washington. President Richard Nixon and President Jimmy Carter even visited Tehran.
Iran, because of the great leadership of the Shah, is an island of stability.
A show of U.S. support for the increasingly authoritarian Shah, who in 1979 fled the country, and Ayatollah Khomeini took power to the newly named Islamic Republic of Iran. In November of 1979, when President Carter allowed the Shah to come to the U.S. for medical treatment, students took over the U.S. Embassy, taking 52 Americans hostage. That and a boat's rescue all but assured Carter's defeat to Ronald Reagan. The hostages were released as soon as they took office. During President Reagan's time in office, the U.S. secretly supported Iraq in its war with Iran, providing intelligence and economic aid to the Iraqi military. In 1983, the U.S. blamed Hezbollah, backed by Iran, for bombing the Marine barracks in Beirut, killing 241 Marines. It was later uncovered that the Reagan administration was also secretly selling weapons to Iraq in order to fund rebels in Nicaragua. And in 1988, tensions increased when the U.S. Navy accidentally shot down an Iranian passenger jet, killing the 290 people on board. Modern presidents continue to try to pressure Iran with increasing sanctions, but after the September 11th attack, then President George W. Bush put Iran high on the nation's enemies list, including it along with North Korea and Iraq in the axis of evil.
Iran aggressively pursues these weapons and exports terror, while an unelected few repress the Iranian people's hope for freedom.
President Barack Obama took a different approach, making an agreement with Iran along with other world powers to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanction relief, a deal President Donald Trump ripped up in his first term, also launching a strike in Iraq to kill Qasem Soleimani, the leader of Iraq Quds First. Now in his second term, launching military strikes for a second time, openly calling for regime change, a new and deadly chapter in a long history of U.S. involvement in Iran. Aderunke Kolawole, Osrc News.
And with our reports, we've come to the end of Osrc News at 7. But before we go, another look at the major stories. The APC in Ondo State is set to hold its state congress to elect new leaders, with party officials assuring members of a peaceful, transparent, and credible exercise. The INEC says it will conduct a mock presidential election ahead of the 2027 polls to test its systems and ensure a credible, glitch-free electoral process. The federal government has begun implementing Executive Order 9 of 2026 to ensure direct remittance of oil revenues to FARC in line with constitutional provisions while protecting investor confidence. And from the foreign scene, we informed you that a review has highlighted decades of strained ties between U.S. and Iran, citing history of nuclear deals, sanctions, and military confrontations between both nations amid recent tension. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.
Go.